Hey guys, welcome back to another clip of Schach-manuel-lernen. Today we're gonna make a very special video, a blindfold challenge. So I will play without seeing the board and my wife Olga makes the moves. So let's try this challenge. So I will tell her the moves that I will make and she will make my moves. And she tells me the moves from my opponents. Okay, perfect. So we are black. He plays e4. And I put the mask on. And you can play pawn to c5.
Pawn to c5. Waiting, nothing.
You need also time to think, I guess. He still didn't make a move, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we will see. Otherwise...
Okay, pawn to f4.
Pawn to f4, okay. Pawn to d5.
Pawn to d5.
So most probably he will take the pawn and then we can, go into an interesting opening line in the Sicilian.
Pawn to e5.
Pawn to e5, okay, he passes. So we play bishop f5.
Bishop f5. Okay.
Now we will try later to close the center with the e-pawn. Just have to be a bit aware of the diagonal from b5 to e8, but it's not a problem so far.
Okay, bishop to b5.
And he gives a check, huh?
Yes.
So you can play knight to c6.
Knight to c6.
And now it will be interesting if he develops his pieces or if he will exchange the bishop with the knight.
Okay, knight to f3.
Okay, knight f3. Pawn to e6.
He did castle.
He castled.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we're gonna play queen b6.
Queen b6.
So the idea is now that we attack the bishop and that we are on the diagonal to the king on g1. And when you will capture...
Rook A4. Oh, rook, sorry. Pawn A4.
Pawn A4,
Yeah.
okay. Then you can play pawn A6.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're attacking the bishop, so either he makes a retreat or he captures the knight on c6.
He captured knight on c6.
Okay, then queen captures c6.
Queen captures.
And now we have the bishop pair and a bit better control of the center. So it's quite a good position at the moment.
Pawn to c3.
Pawn to c3. Okay, we could win a pawn if... don't make the move. If we would capture on b1, rook captures, and then pawn on a4. Ah no, it's protected from the queen on d1. In this case, we will continue our development with bishop e7.
Bishop e7.
It's square in front of king.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And now we try to play h5 and play knight to h6.
Pawn to d4.
Pawn to d4. Then we close it with c4. Pawn to c4.
Pawn to c4. Should I capture or?
No, like we have a pawn on c5. You can go to c4.
Okay.
Because his pawns are on c3 and d4.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So now all of his pawns are on dark squares, and he has the bishop on c1, which is quite terrible at the moment.
This is amazing, actually. Unbelievable.
Yeah, our idea is now to attack on the king side. Depends what he plays, of course, but...
Knight to d2.
Knight to d2, okay. Then we play h5, pawn to h5.
Pawn to h5.
Because everything is protected on our side, and now we can try with knight h6 in upcoming moves. And for you guys, it's just important to know that everything is first taped, as you know by all of my clips. So if we do a mistake, we are out. It's good that he takes his time, because position is not that easy to play. And yeah, we chose the classical mode. Did we have enough time for everything?
Pawn h3.
Pawn h3, okay. Now the question is if we can play not playing. The question is if we can play h4 because pawn is protected twice. But yeah, I guess at the moment it's not the idea, so we play knight h6.
And knight h6.
The idea behind this move is that we will go back with bishop to g6, play knight f5, and then jump to g3 at the end. That's the idea of this move. And also to avoid that he can play g4 in closer future.
It will take a while.
Yeah, I mean, we can also make a clip then once with rapid mode or even blitz mode. But yeah, we'll see if it's too long or not at the end.
Okay, pawn to b3.
Pawn to b3. Okay, so he tries to attack the center, like the pawn on c4. If we would play b5, he would capture with a pawn, we would recapture with a pawn. Then you can capture the rook on a8, and then it's protected from the queen, and then the queen side is a bit open, but we have the open file and his bishop still stuck on c1. So yeah, we play b5. Pawn to b5.
Okay, pawn to b5 captured.
Pawn b5 captured.
Yes.
Okay. Pawn on a6 captures b5.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have an open file on the a file. So most probably he will capture the rook.
He captured rook on a8.
Yeah, and then we recapture with the queen on a8. And now our queen is on the open file, so it's quite nice. So yeah, one of my first blind games since a while. And yeah, it's quite tough to play with time on one side, and on the other side that the opponent sees the board, because normally when you exercise chess, both players play blindfold.
Mm-hmm.
And also first time of commentating a game, that's also not that easy.
Pawn to c4 captured.
Okay, then pawn from b5
Yeah.
captures c4. Now we have two open files, like with no pawns, on A file and B file. So our next idea is gonna be small castle, rook b8, and dominating on this side, because his bishop still stuck on c1, and he can't develop because the knight is on d2 at the moment. We just have to be aware a bit on the h5 pawn, because the queen on d1 is kind of x-ray it because of the knight on f3. So if this knight moves, the pawn on h5 will be under attack. So that's a bit something we have to be careful about. And yeah, his idea also will be bringing the rook to open file, but for him it's a bit tougher than for us. And at the moment we also should have a comfortable time advantage of 4 minutes, something like that. Like instinctive feeling.
Yeah, it's almost 5 now.
Or almost 5, yeah.
Okay, knight to g5.
Knight to g5, okay. Now it's what I mentioned before, he attacks now with the queen, the pawn on h5. So I don't want to give up the bishop on e7, because we need him for later. f7 and e6 is protected, so we play pawn to g6.
Pawn to g6.
And yeah, now we just have to worry a bit about g4, that the bishop will be trapped. But at the moment we have bishop on f5, pawn on h5, and knight on h6, which are guarding g4. So if he plays now g4, he would simply lose a pawn, because it will be 3 times attacked and 2 times defended. That's why this move won't make sense. Can you give me quickly a bit water?
Yes.
Good, danke schön.
Okay.
Yeah, now we're waiting a bit for his next move. Yeah, like this is kind of first clip that we do. So I guess afterwards we will see the time at the end. And yeah, then we will know how much time we needed for the next blindfold clip.
Okay. Knight to f3.
Knight d2 to f3.
Knight d2 to f3.
Okay. So yeah, he's guarding now the knight on g5. And it also sets his bishop free. In this case, we castle short. Like you can put king to g8.
King to
And then it will castle automatically.
Okay.
The rook should be now on f8.
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. Because now g4 is out of danger, simply because he played the knight to f3. And yeah, so our knight on h6 doesn't do a lot at the moment, but as I mentioned earlier, he will jump later to f5.
Okay, knight to h4.
h4, okay, so he wanna grab my bishop, but we can play now bishop d3.
Bishop d3.
Yes, because now we're attacking the square on f1 and the bishop is perfectly safe thanks to the pawn on c4, and he won't try to capture it with the rook because the rook is stronger than the bishop. Like later on, and queen he anyway won't give up, so it's quite good. And we still have always the, let's call it backup option of bishop takes g5 in worst case, if the attack will get too strong for us. And now his knights are, yeah, okay, technically he
He put what is it? Knight to f3
which one? From h4?
from g5
From g5,
to
okay.
f3.
Okay, his rook is on e1 right at the moment.
His rook is at f1.
At f1, okay. About this I wasn't sure, because when he plays that, technically we could win material when we capture the rook with the bishop with on d3. But I will check first if he threats something, but he went with the h knight back to f3. It's kind of a stupid move actually. Because his pawn is on e5 and d4, so the knight has no future there. So yeah, you can play bishop takes f1.
Bishop takes f1.
So now we are material up, and
Queen captured f1.
Okay. And yeah, now we are material up and we still have the better bishop because our bishop is in the same color like the opponent's pawns at the moment. Now is the question if we play rook b8 or queen a1. Knight on h5, that is not a problem. Yeah, queen a1.
Queen a1.
Yes. The idea there is if he moves his bishop, we can make a queen trade, and since we are material up, yeah, it will be in our favor if we make this trade. And he doesn't have tactical ideas because e6 and f7 are enough protected. And yeah, his bishop is still a poor guy because he has nothing to attack.
Bishop to d2.
d2.
Yeah.
Okay. Queen takes f1 with check.
Yeah. King captured f1.
Then we play rook to b8.
We don't have a rook.
We have a rook on f8 at the moment.
Aha, this one. Yeah, sorry. b8.
Yeah, and then rook to b8.
Yeah, okay.
Because now we are on the open file and we want to infiltrate his position with rook b1 or with rook b2.
Okay, king goes to e2.
Okay, in this case rook b2.
Rook to b2.
Because now we pin the bishop on d2. And yeah, so we can't move this piece. And yeah, now we just try to exchange all of the pieces that we will have a winning endgame at the end. That's the plan. If it works that smoothly, we will see. Now some funny tactical ideas would be bishop b4, pawn takes b4, c3, and then the bishop on d2 is twice attacked. And then we can create a pass pawn, but I have to calculate that in depth afterwards.
Knight goes back to g5.
Knight to g5?
Yes.
I thought his knight was already on g5 and f3. Because he moved back with the knight from h4 to...
No, he moved from
g5,
g5 to
okay.
f3 and then he went back.
Okay, so now basically the knights are on h4 and g5. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now we can really think about this funny idea. Does it work? When he goes back to f3, okay, like what I'm calculating, guys, is bishop b4. Okay, he doesn't have to capture, unfortunately, but yeah, I mean, what else can he do? Yeah, he can move away with the king. Okay, then. Otherwise, I thought bishop b4, pawn takes b4, c3, knight goes back to f3, and then we play c2, and yeah, we can make a queen, but he can play king to d3, and then we have there a bit of problem. So in this case, I would play knight to f5.
Knight to f5.
Yeah, we try to exchange one knight. And yeah, if he trades, then it will become easier for us, the task of converting. Yeah, for him it's quite tough at the moment to find ideas because it's a lost position currently. Yeah, and if he will capture, then we can still think how to recapture. If we recapture on f5 or if we capture on g5, that option we still have in our mind.
Okay, yeah, he captured knight on f5.
Okay, now it's a question of which pawn that we recapture, or if we capture on g5. But you can play pawn g6 captures f5.
g6 to f5.
And our pawns are still everyone on white squares, so his bishop will never be able to attack any of our pawns. That's why it's called that he has the bad bishop and we have the good bishop. And yeah, most probably he will play knight f3, because if we can exchange bishop against knight, then we will simply win the game with the king's march. But it's good that he keeps on playing, and yeah.
Okay, pawn h4.
Okay. Yeah, bishop captures g5.
Bishop captures g5.
Now it will become much simpler, the position.
The pawn captures g5.
Which one? The h1?
The h4.
h4, okay. Now we leave our pawn on white squares. We still have a pawn on f7 that protects the square on g6, so he can't just walk with his pawn. So we play king f8.
King f8.
Because now our goal is to march with the king towards a3, and yeah, just to attacking his pawn on c3 at the end with the king. And his bishop is, the longer the game goes, the sadder he will become. And our rook is just much stronger, that's why.
Okay, pawn to g3.
Pawn to g3, okay, he closed the position a bit. And yeah, now he has a funny pawn structure with c3, d4, e5, f4, g3 and g5. It's really every single pawn is on black, and yeah, he has again the wrong bishop, so king e8.
King e8.
Like, we continue our plan, and there's absolutely no way he can stop it. And when he moves away the king and the bishop, we will move the rook to g2 and attacking the pawn on g3. That's the second option of winning. Because at the moment he's thinking about resigning. Yeah, because there really are no good moves. I guess he will play king d1 at the end, but we will see. How many minutes he has left at the moment?
8:35, and he goes king to e3.
King to e3, okay. Yeah, then we play king d7.
King d7.
So we also remain on white square, so we don't fall in any trap.
Okay, bishop goes to e1.
e1, okay. Yeah, he protects the pawns, but yeah, okay. King c6.
King c6. King goes to f3.
Okay. King b5.
King b5.
Yeah, his king stocks now between.
Bishop to f2.
Okay. Yeah, his king stocks there, so king a4.
King a4.
And now if he plays king g2, then we will
King
sacrifice.
g2.
Yeah. Rook captures f2 with check.
Rook captures.
The bishop on f2 with check.
Yes, okay. King captured f2.
King b3.
King b3.
And now the c3 pawn will fall, and then we make a new queen. Queen for glory. And he has no breakthrough on the king side, because he needs too much moves until he reaches the pawn on h5, which is the only pawn beside f7 that is not protected.
King to g2.
Okay, king captures pawn on c3.
King captures pawn c3. King goes to h3.
King captures pawn on d4.
King captures d4. King goes to h4.
Then we're gonna play pawn to c3.
Pawn to c3. King captures h5.
Pawn to c2.
Yes. King goes to h6.
Then c1, transformation to a queen.
Right. King goes to g7.
Queen c7.
queen c7.
Yeah, we play it safe and protect the pawn on f7, the only weakness, and the rest we do now with the king.
He resigned.
Okay, perfect. So
Yay.
I will open it. Perfect, great. So I hope you liked this clip. It was a bit longer, but trust me, for me it was more exhausting than for you guys for watching. And I hope you liked it and have a wonderful weekend.
Bye
See you
bye.
guys.